Hello guys, welcome back to another video. As you will have seen in all the vlogs that have gone live in the past few months, I've had a great time in Indonesia and I am here today to share with you everything you need to know before planning your trip. From when to go to how to get around and even how much the trip cost us. Obviously, we spent 1 month in Indonesia, only from Java in the west all the way to Flores in the east. So we've done none of the northern islands like Sulawesi, Borneo, Sumatra even. We didn't make it there. We had to make a choice and we decided to start out with the basic backpacking route. So most of this information will be applicable on this route. Let's start with when is the best time to go. April to October is the best time to visit Indonesia, with the peak during the summer months, July and August, which is when a lot of European people will have their summer holiday and go to Bali and Indonesia as well. This will also be the most expensive period, so try to avoid July and August. In March and November, you can still go to Indonesia. There might be some rain, but there is also a big chance that the weather is still good. The burning season or smoky season, which I talked about in depth in my Southeast Asia guide, this is from September to October. It's very unpredictable. Each year it kind of depends on the harvest, but usually it is during these 2 months. Some years are worse than others. You might not even notice it that much, but other years it'll really throw a spanner in the works. So this is just something to take into account as well. If you're looking for a place to go in January and February, it would be the worst time to visit the places we visited, so the southern islands of Indonesia. But on the other hand, West Papua and Raja Ampat are seeing their best times of the year to visit. So different parts of Indonesia definitely have different seasons, so look into your specific island you want to go to see whether or not it really is the dry season. When it comes to entering the country, most nationalities can go to Indonesia with simply a tourist visa. Once I arrived, I had to pay $35 and this then gave me 30 days to visit all of the country. There are a few QR codes that you need to scan and then you just fill out all your personal information. You will then get a QR code that you can simply scan along with your passport, and this will then give you access to the country. At least that's how it went in Jakarta, in the capital, where the whole immigration process was very automated. I didn't even get a stamp in my passport, but it was all good. So yeah, very modern way of entering the country these days. Once I arrived, I then bought a SIM card for 280,000 rupiah, which got me 35 gigabytes and got me through the month easily. Now that you know when to go and how to enter the country, let's have a look at how you will be getting around. We started in Jakarta, which is on the island of Java. We traveled all across this island using only trains. The trains you can only book on an app called Traveloka. This app is where you can see all the train schedules, you can book your tickets, and so on. So you'll need to get this app when backpacking Indonesia. We took a train from Jakarta to Yogyakarta to Malang, and then from Malang we did a 3-day tour on the eastern side of Java to the volcanoes and the waterfalls. I made a separate video about this. I had no idea that there was a tour that made it pretty much as affordable as doing it by yourself, but without all the hassle. It was amazing, one of the highlights of our trip. They dropped us off at the ferry. Ferry was included to go to Bali. Ferry was super short, and then it also included a transfer to get to our accommodation on Bali. On most of the main islands, you can use Grab or Gojek to get around. This is an app that can get you easy taxis and for a good price as well. You can even order food. To be fair, I found the Grabs and Gojeks pretty expensive still in Indonesia. The cheapest way to get around, for example, around Bali, once you've arrived there, is definitely by just renting your own scooter for 6 euros a day. A whole tank of gas costs you about €1. So this is definitely the most affordable way of getting around, and everyone does it. Just wear your helmet, guys. Other than this, if you decide to travel onwards to the Gili Islands, to Lombok, then you can take the ferry, and lots of these ferries you can book on Want to Go Asia. I very often, like all over Asia, have used Want to Go Asia. Just don't book too last minute, because sometimes like the confirmation will come through, but yeah, just make sure you book like maybe 24 hours ahead of time. Especially for the ferries, we found this very useful. They have packages including a transfer to the port and then the ferry from port to port. From Lombok, we then took the 4-day Komodo boat tour all the way to Flores. I would not do the 4-day boat tour Lombok to Flores. I would simply fly to Flores and then just do the 3-day boat tour from there, because the whale shark experience is not guaranteed and also very unethical, and the first 2 days of the boat tour are pretty much just a waste. So I would have preferred to spend more time in Komodo National Park. It is an extra flight, but it's a very short flight of only an hour. We flew with Batik Air, but there's also Air Asia, Transnusa. All of these are very good like short distance, low cost airlines. Now let's have a look at the budget. What did we spend on our trip of Indonesia in a whole month? The local currency is the rupiah, and you will most likely be paying with cash. Whenever you take out money, try and take out as much as you can in one go, because that saves you on ATM fees. A lot of the times it was an extra 3% if you wanted to pay with your card. It was possible in more places than it was in the Philippines, but yeah, it's not always possible. So you must have some cash on you. And in restaurants, this was very surprising to me, but they often add on 10% tax and 5% service costs on any meal you get, which is also what makes the food then more expensive. We saw a lot, we did so much, there was a lot of transportation involved, we did so many activities, and we did spend a bit more on private rooms in hostels because we did want the social aspect, but also the privacy of a private room. On our private room, we spent 15 euros per person per night on average. For transportation, we spent about 10 euros per day. You can either see that as a scooter, or when we had a whole day with ferries and like transfers, etc., it would easily be a 30 to 40 euro day. A train was also not the most affordable. It was anywhere between 15 to 30 euros as well. Flights can be pretty cheap actually. They can be starting from 30 euros, but if you book them a bit later, or yeah, you're just unlucky, they might be a bit more expensive as well. So in general, 10 euros on transportation, 15 for accommodation. On food, we spent on average 13 euros a day. Some days we spent not that much at all, or it was already included in our activities, and others we did spend a bit more, like 20 to even 30 euros sometimes, especially in southern Bali and also in Labuan Bajo and Flores. We did spend a bit more on food, but 13 euros on average a day is not too bad, but I feel like we could have spent less, especially eating in the warungs, which are the local Indonesian restaurants. They have really good food, some stir-fried noodles. Yeah, some of our favorite meals in Indonesia were in the warungs, so you can definitely save some money on food if you want. For the activities, we spent a bit more. We did so much. We spent 26 euros per day on activities on average, because, for example, the temples, Borobudur and Prambanan, were 25 euros each. We did the dives in Komodo National Park, which were 180. So obviously that's a big cost. We did the 4-day boat tour, which we paid a bit more as well to have the private room. So that made it 65 euros a day. We did the 3-day East Java tour, which was also 40 euros a day. So in total, I spent 1,780 euros on a month of backpacking Indonesia. I was definitely not budget backpacking, and I just tried to do it well because I kind of knew that I probably wouldn't be going back there anytime soon. I do want to go to Borneo and Sulawesi and obviously Raja Ampat one day, but not really the places I've been. So I wanted to do it well. So that's why we spent on average 61.5 euros a day. That's one of the highest averages of what I've spent in countries backpacking so far. So I'm very surprised with that. I definitely didn't expect it, but it was worth it, especially the dives in Komodo National Park, the multiple day tours we did. They did make the whole trip. Then, of course, a final thing to take into account is the religion. Some islands are more Muslim, others are more Buddhist. Bali is more Buddhist, Java is more Muslim. So you will most likely hear the mosques. Maybe they'll even wake you up. But it didn't really bother us too much. We didn't struggle with it much at all. Obviously, cover up, just be respectful. Even visiting the temples, make sure you have some like long sleeved or at least like something that covers up certain parts of your body, and just, yeah, come prepared, be respectful, and enjoy most of all. I hope if you do go to Indonesia anytime soon that you have an amazing trip. I hope that this answered your questions a bit. If you do have any more questions, then leave them in the comment section below. And up next will be the final Southeast Asia vlogs, maybe even for a while, who knows. After this, you'll be seeing all the Philippines vlogs and videos. So if you don't want to miss any of those, then subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!